Not the case. Let's bring in a special guest, someone who's been following this case very closely. Gisela is a YouTuber and author covering this case, and she's in the Netherlands this morning. Thanks for joining us, Gisela. This was one of those boyfriend, and we see this a lot, where, of course, the people closest to someone missing or dead are under scrutiny. What's your take on this latest information?
I think it's absolutely terrifying, because it's ordinary in these cases to, even the investigators, right? They look at the people closest in that person's orbit. But to think that this is a stranger, essentially. We don't know yet if it was a stalker of some kind or someone who knew from social media, but that a woman can just be on a walk in the forest after a long day and this can happen is absolutely terrifying. And that they have his DNA, and there's some video footage now, but he's still on the loose and traveling across states, apparently. That's terrifying. And
they don't have an ID, which is hard to reconcile, but they're working on it. The case got a lot of social media chatter. What are people saying now that the boyfriend is out? Because that was pretty much the theme of most people's input. You know, makes sense. But to your point, this changes the game, and now you do have a predator on the loose.
Yes, the public definitely, we were looking at all possible speculations, obviously responsibly. You can't just say this person is the killer. That's not what to do on social media, but just looking at, well, what's plausible. So there was the boyfriend and some ex-boyfriends that had some criminal charges, including domestic violence and battery and stalking and things like that. So that was a concern. But now that we've learned this information, I think a lot of people just that I've seen from my audience are actually in fear, because this person is still running around. He can still commit more crimes. They have not identified him yet. So it really is up to social media and the public now to share this information as much as possible, especially now that the case has gone so viral and internationally. I mean, the Netherlands, there's people from all over the world watching this case. I think it's really important to keep on sharing so that he can be identified as quickly as possible. You just don't know how a little bit of information can go a really long way.
Absolutely. One person that recognizes him, his back, you know, that because you just have the profile in his back, but, you know, someone, a loved one, someone who knows him well, will be able to ID him. Let's listen to the chief. He was on with Julie Grant last night, talking about the fact that, yeah, it's not the boyfriend.
When this incident first happened, there was a lot of attention, especially on social media, targeting that everybody believed that her current boyfriend at the time was the suspect. We believe this DNA evidence rules him out of that. And so we don't know whether it was random. We have no information as far as our investigation goes that this suspect was known to Rachel or that he knew Rachel. So we're going to err on the side of caution and believe that, and put it out there, that our community needs to be cautious, pay attention to their surroundings. As I said in the press conference, don't be engrossed in your cell phone. Don't have your headphones turned up so loud that you can't hear what's going on around you, and just pay attention to your surroundings. And we're going to have as much deployment out there as possible to try to keep the community safe. But the one thing I want to say is, you know, this incident occurred on the Mom Pa Trail, and the incident in LA occurred in a home. So as much as we're keeping the Mom Pa Trail safe, if this guy's still out there in our community, and we don't know if he's still here or he has left, but this type of assault with him could occur anywhere.
Yeah, that trail is a very popular one, but the chief's point, Gisela, this guy with his past it's not like he's just stalking on trails. He's just he could attack anywhere, and the fact that he was in LA, then Maryland, that opens up the whole country, doesn't it, on some level. The importance of getting the word out is huge.
It absolutely is. And a lot of people also saying with a home invasion, why can't we see him entering the house? But it's a home invasion, so he likely entered through a window. So this is someone that is a violent offender, I will censor it like we do on YouTube, just say it's an essayist, it's someone who's escalating in his behavior, he's going across states. We don't know what other victims could be tied to this suspect. He's a potential serial killer. We don't know that yet. But based on what he did allegedly to Rachel Morin, that is so brutal to completely try to, based on what we heard from the person's father who found her, it was so brutal to try to, you know, obliterate her face. It felt so personal. This is why people were speculating, well, there has to be someone that knows her. But to think that this guy allegedly removed her clothes and left her in a tunnel like that that's like posing. It's almost serial killer talk. So I'd be very interested to keep an eye on this. Of course, I hope he's apprehended ASAP, because there could be so many more victims that come forward once we actually have a face and a name, actually.
We don't know if there was it hasn't been disclosed whether she was sexually assaulted, correct, or do we?
No, it hasn't. I just wonder with the home invasion and assault, and then them saying they're not going to specify where the DNA was found on her, we could speculate that it's highly likely that there would be, for someone like this, that is this impulsive, it seems like. I mean, calculated to some degree, but also impulsive and lying in wait and attacking across states. I mean, we don't know what kind of weapons he had, how he coerces people like Rachel from one location to another. It's scary. It reminds me of the Delphi case a little bit as well, and Eliza Fletcher and so many other cases as well.
Yeah, you're right. And that mystery around Delphi took years to solve. Hopefully that's not the case here. But it's similar in that you had a shot of the suspect, but it's difficult to really zero in. It's almost it's very frustrating. Let's look again at the what we do know about the suspect here. Is 5'9", 160 pounds. In March of 2023 in Los Angeles, there was a home invasion. He sexually assaulted a young girl, according to authorities there. His DNA was left at both attacks, and they don't believe there's any relation to Rachel Morin. Here's the chief again talking, and he's basically saying what they're trying to do to identify this person. Take a listen.
You don't know whether he's got ties to the Maryland community where this occurred or not, right?
Right. That's absolutely right. And because of his Hispanic descent, you know, we're working with our Hispanic community leaders here in hopes that maybe they know him or they may be able to help us identify who he is. So, yeah, he could be anywhere right now, anywhere in the country, really.
Yeah, Gisela, to your point earlier, it's terrifying to think that there's someone out there like this. The online community is fascinating because there's so much attention and intrigue with unsolved cases, especially. Is that accurate that the people around the globe get wind of these stories and they immerse themselves? Talk about the phenomenon that we do have in this true crime community that really is global.
Yes, I think social media can be a very powerful tool and for law enforcement to use as well. And I think in that way, then people feel like they can really help. And we've often seen that just by sharing information or a clip or sleuthing something. Of course, it can go wrong if one goes too deep down the rabbit holes and conspires and blames people. That's not the point. The point is to remain responsible and focused on the victim and their families, and then to get justice as soon as possible. So I think in these cases, it's about the mystery as well. How could this happen? How could a mother of 5 go to a tanning salon and then the gym and then just go for a walk? I mean, it's such an ordinary thing to do. I go for a walk often in the woods here, in the forest, in the Netherlands, and it's something we can all relate to. And to just think of what happened to her and how she was left is devastating and really scary. So we all generally in my community are trying to learn, well, how did this happen? How can we best protect ourselves? And of course, how can we help? That's what we're trying to do.
All right, Gisela, Kirsten, thank you for joining us, and we all hope and pray that this individual is identified sooner than later. We're going to get a break in here coming up.